All right, friends. How's everybody doing? We're going to get started a little early tonight and do something a little silly. Uh, this came out today, the OGL, and people have been asking me for my professional opinion, and this is not, which reminds me, I need to do something fun. Let's add a little text scrolling thing at the bottom of the screen that says this. I am not your lawyer, and you should not rely on this advice without executing, signing an engagement letter with me. And we're going to make that center aligned. We're going to outline it. Going to outline it in black. And we're going to let that scroll. Let's scroll that. Filters. Scroll, baby, scroll. And let's see. All right, there we go. I'm going to put that sitting around at the top of the screen. Because heaven forfend, somebody thinks I'm their lawyer because I did a fucking live stream. Come on. Yeah, I should have done this before, but oh well, it is what it is. You know what? We can put that down here. And we'll put it below things. There we go. Good enough. There's a myriad and a Gwendolyn. All right, cool. So here's what we got. We have the OGL v1.0a right here on the right. On the left, we have the new draft. Yeah. All right. So let's just start in on what this stupid thing says. Introduction to SRD 5.1, many ways to create, blah, 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 blah. Their licenses you under Creative Commons. So Attribution 4.0 CC BY 40. You will note, and I brought that up over here. So Creative Commons has its own set of problems. So as long as they stick with CC BY 4.0 and they don't change it, then fine. But as you can tell, there have been many, 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 many additions of the Creative Commons license. So that's its own set of problems. We deal with that later. But let's go back to the document itself. All right. Nope, that's not what I wanted. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move this down here because I don't need that yet. So our copyright rights in other content included in the SRD are licensed to you under the OGL 1.2. Okay. So we're going to click on the link. Yeah, look at that. That link doesn't go anywhere yet. That's interesting. All right, great. Good to know. What a pain in the ass. All right, use of D&D content is allowed in terms of the virtual tabletop policy. Let's look at that one too. Let's bring that up. Yep, doesn't go anywhere either. Bless their hearts. Let's actually take a look at that link. Did they actually put a right link? Yeah. So that's bullshit to begin with. Not bullshit, sorry. Let me walk that back. If you're going to hyperlink to a document inside another document, standard legal practice is to actually link to the right HTML. Wow. Okay. Let's see if they actually go to the fan content policy. Holy shit, it links to the right thing. I have, and for the most part, the people I've met are pretty competent. Yeah. I have not met their attorney. I applied for the job, but they declined to interview me, which is hilarious. Wizards of the Coast fan content policy. That's fine. All right. That's good for now. All right. Platforms, the name is gone. Provide additional paths. Sure. Create a product badges. You may use one of the following badges. Under the OGL 1.2. Okay. All right. So here's the notice of deauthorization of 1.0A. Look, people have been losing their shit about this. I'll show you what I'm talking about here and why it's kind of ridiculous that people are losing their shit. Right? This is a perpetual license. Okay? Where is it? I'll show you where it says that. Grant consideration. Perpetual, worldwide, royalty, non-exclusive license. Right? So this license, just to be clear, grants you the ability to do what you want with something that you publish under this license. It doesn't mean that this license can't go away. It just means that the stuff you do while this license is active stays licensed. Okay? I want to be really clear about that. There's nothing that precludes Wizards from taking this one away and supplementing it with a new one. Anything that happened from the beginning of time up until the date they throw it away is still licensed. It is under a perpetual license. So, you know, people freaking out about the fact that 1.0A is no longer an authorized license, oh well, that is absolutely within a company's right to do. Nothing that came before can be affected. Anything you did under 1.0A stays licensed. Does not mean, see there. They even say that in the next sentence. Doesn't it mean that any content previously published under the version needs to update to this license? Previously published content remains licensed under whichever version of the OGL was in effect. That's pretty clear statement, right? All right. So let's look at the license itself. This is a license between Wizards of the Coast, blah, 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 and anyone who wants to use the licensed content in their own TTRPG. I do not like it. Do they define TPRP? Okay, they do down here. Just want to make sure there's nothing hidden, like there's no wacky definition of TTRPG. All right, by using our licensed content, where is the term definition of licensed content? Control F. Licensed content. So usually the first time a capitalized term appears is where you define it. I can't even find the frickin' definition of licensed content. So capital L licensed. I guess this would be it. Our licensed content. Any content in the SRD 5.1. Okay. Or any subsequent version of the SRD release under this license. That isn't licensed under the Creative Commons version. That's fine. Okay. All right. Let's close that. By using our licensed content, you agree to the terms of this license. As using this license, we includes our affiliates, successors, and predecessors. So, I don't like lowercase a affiliates because what the hell does that mean? It's not a defined term. And you are exposing yourself to the liability of anyone that they're doing business with. I would not have drafted it like that, but they want a broad license, and I want to know what an affiliate means. I want capital A definition for affiliate. Successors, that's, I mean, anyone they sell the company to. Predecessors, this protects all the old folks when they say predecessors. All right, content covered. This license covers any content in the SRD 5.1 or any subsequent version, yada, 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 yada. Okay. And I am looking at the chat if you guys have questions. Unlicensed content. Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. God. Oh, I can tell a big law attorney wrote that. Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. Any other content we release or have released is not licensed to you under this license. All right, your content. This is your creative contributions to your works that are not our licensed content or our unlicensed content. Yeah, you know, it'd be really nice. Let's just take a look. I'm just curious. Maybe they define it here. Control F. There is no unlicensed on this web page. So the word unlicensed does not appear on that page. Okay. Well, fuck me if they are using a web series, no web series, no movies, no TV shows, no nothing. So the license only applies to printed and static electronic files. And in virtual tabletops in accordance with our virtual tabletop policy. Oh, weird. Sorry about that. You know, I'm going to pause my monitor on Twitch right now, so that'll get better. So yeah, I don't like this. This 1B is, it only applies to printed static media and electronic files like EPUBs and PDFs. So what about our stream stuff? What about, I got to read, now I got to go to the virtual tabletop policy. Terms of use, privacy policy, affiliate program disclosure. Okay, huh. Well, that's interesting because I can't even find it. Thanks, Gwydlyn. I'm going to have to... So what I normally do when I'm reviewing something like this is I'll pull up another document here, and starting at the top, let's go with issues. 1. CC has its own set of problems. And let me make this a little bigger, just so everybody can see. All right. 2. Links to actual policies in the agreement are broken. I get fired by a client for that. All right. VTT policy. And again, I love that the link in the document is wizards.com. I'll take a look for it later. VTT policy and fan content policy. All right. Badge is fine. 4. Deauth of 1.0a. And again, for the reasons we discussed earlier, that really isn't a problem. Anything you did under the previous license is fine. You can continue to do that. Derivative works under that are a question. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Thanks, Gwydlyn. Thank you for not doing a planar die roll. All right. Where was I? Right. Who the hell are the affiliates? No definition. All right. What is the actual definition of licensed content? What is the actual definition of unlicensed content? Crazy shit, yo. All right. Works covered. So 1A, actually 1B, only applies to print media and static electronic files, PDF, etc. What about streams? This is obviously intended to stop, you know, web series, TV shows, movies, anime. All right. To be a licensed work on this license, it must be a covered work as defined in Section 1B. So Section 1B, so in order to be covered, you got to be printed media instead of electronic files. Has to contain both our licensed content and your content. That makes sense. You can't just reprint their stuff. And not contain our unlicensed content. We are only licensing you our copyrights and our licensed content, except that under 5A, we also grant you a trademark license to the... Yeah, that's fine. And I love that the Creator Badge Style Guide goes to wizards.com. Jesus Christ. This is a... Again, I would be fired for putting out a document like this. All right. Section 5A. I still want a definition of what unlicensed content means. So. All right. The actual license says, in consideration for your compliance with this license, you may copy, use, modify, and distribute our licensed content around the world as part of your licensed works. This license is perpetual, meaning that it has no set end date. So here you go. They're making perpetual. Here's why, when I was talking earlier about 1.0A and the perpetual nature of it, they're actually explaining what perpetual means from a legal perspective. It has no set end date. Anything you do between the time we say this license is active and the time we say, yeah, we're shit canning it, is licensed forever. The license itself doesn't have to live forever. The license document, the availability for people to do a license under that agreement doesn't have to live forever. They're defining that here to save themselves the heartache that they're dealing with now. Because that's literally, from a legal perspective, what we mean when we say perpetual. Non-exclusive, yeah, I mean, anybody can have a license to it. And irrevocable. They're not going to pull it back. Right? It also cannot be modified except for the attribution provisions in Section 5 and Section 9. Ho-ho. So if you're going to use their stuff, you got to use it without alteration. Right? I mean, that's the thing. What you own. Your licensed works are yours. They may not be copied. This is, please tell me maybe they do it at the end? I was hoping that they had a definition section at the end. They don't. So, what is the actual definition of licensed works? All right. They may not be copied or used without your permission. That is a big one. You acknowledge that we and our licensees, as content creators ourselves, might independently come up with content similar to something you create. That is ultimately reasonable. There are only so many versions of, dwarves in the world. There are only so many versions of, tiefling bards in the world. Sorry, something's going to look like somebody's eventually, and that is what it is. What it is. If you claim that we have breached this provision, or that one of our licensees did in connection with content they licensed from us, any such claim will be brought only as a lawsuit for breach of contract and only for monetary damages. Yep. You explicitly agree that monetary damages are an adequate remedy and that you will not seek or be entitled to injunctive relief. So I had this conversation with a client today. Here's what this means. you can't stop a D&D movie from coming out by going to a judge and asking for an injunction saying, that movie has my tiefling bard in it. No. Just no. It would be idiotic for anyone to ever agree to a license like that. So, yes, it is reasonable, and it happens every day. I do it for my clients. Anyone in the entertainment industry, you cannot stop. You cannot be put in a position to have your entire production ground to a halt because somebody gets gets pissed off and thinks you stole their idea for a character from them. Damages, great. Yeah, you can sue me for damages, but you can't sue to have a judge step in and stop my production immediately. And that's reasonable. 3B, in any such lawsuit, you must show that we knowingly and intentionally copied your licensed work. This is why people don't, this is why in Hollywood folks don't accept unlicensed or unsolicited scripts, things like that. The whole point here is Wizards is trying to build an entertainment conglomerate. They don't want a television show, a cartoon, a movie to be injunctively stopped in the bud by somebody who claims an idea was stolen. And that is industry standard in any industry that is related to entertainment. Let's see. I'm going to move that text thing, and take a little drink because I really don't often talk all that much. Let's actually put some gradient on this stupid thing too. There we go. Okay, where the hell was I? All right, what we own. We own our licensed content, reserve all rights. That is a standard phrase. If it is not licensed, it is reserved for the company. What you control your content. You can make your content available under any terms you choose, but you may not change the terms. So here's the point. If you include stuff from this OGL in whatever you're making, you cannot stop anyone else from using not the totality of what you've created, but what is Wizards in what you've created. Okay? So just, that's what that means. Sorry, there's not really another way to say that. It is, if I make something that has tiefling bards in it, I don't know why my brain's on tiefling bards tonight, but if you create something that has tiefling bards in it, you can't say, hey, you've infringed my intellectual property because you've used my tiefling bard. Well, no, that was part of the OGL you got from Wizards. Where are we? Gay energy, lol. Right? You must clearly indicate that your licensed work contains our licensed content under this license, either by including the full text of this license in your licensed work. I would... Hey, Dragon Gem. Oh, that's a dad joke. I guess I am dad at that point. Here's the point. If I were advising a client, I would literally tell them, take this document and put it in the back of your book. The entire license, say, please refer to the OGL reprinted here for your convenience. Right? I would just throw it right in the back of the book. You may permit the use of your content on any terms you want. However, if any license you offer your licensed work is different, you must include in the licensed work the attribution for our licensed content. Basically, you can't get around a license from Wizards by taking Wizards content from a third party's product. So all of this stuff has to be in your... If I put out a source book, the source book has to have all this stuff in it. Does that make sense? That's where we are with 5B. And that's reasonable. Like, the whole point of this is to make sure that they're protected and your stuff isn't going to get their IP stolen for no reason. Warranties and disclaimers. Ooh, this one's fun. All right. Age and capacity to be bound. Yep. So if you are over the age of majority, and that should actually say majority for the country in which you are accessing the license, whatever. or if younger, have had your parent or guardian review these terms and agree to them on your behalf. You have the power and authority to enter this license and performance obligations. So let's say your boss didn't want you to use any OGL stuff in a supplement, and you did anyway. You did not have the power and authority to do that. You actually committed fraud by doing that because you didn't have the authority to bind the company. Your licensed work, this is a big one. They want to make sure that, so no infringement. What they're saying here is that your licensed work is not going to infringe on any third party's IP rights or on the rights licensed to you via this license or any other. Oh, that any other is a killer. I'll explain why in the end. They don't want, they're the deep pocket, right? Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are the deep pocket from a legal perspective. That's what we call it. They're the one that is more likely to get sued if something happens. So they want to make sure that you are certifying to them nothing you do in your products is going to get them in trouble. There is, I'm not going to go into it in any great detail, but let's say you are doing I don't know. Oh, right, here's a great example. Let's say you're doing a Call of Cthulhu sort of world type thing, and you're having all your books printed in China. And Chinese government doesn't like Cthulhu and finds it unpatriotic and decides to just destroy all your products, sue you, and and Wizards. That is nowhere near the risk, the remote risk that you think it is. There was a dude that just tried to do, it was a couple of years ago now, but he tried to do a Delta Green Cthulhu and had it printed in China, and the Chinese government did not like the content of the books because it cast the Chinese government in a bad light, and the entire print run was destroyed. Guy got his money back, but shit like that happens. So, they're basically saying you're not going to screw around with this stuff in such a manner that's going to get us in trouble. So, no infringement. Endorsement, except as otherwise expressly allowed by this license. You will not state, suggest, or imply that your work is endorsed or associated by us. That's a big deal, right? You don't want to, that's going to expose them to liability too. And that's fine. I'm going to go back to, or any other. This is the no infringement or any other right. That's going to include privacy rights. So, that is beyond the scope of this hour-long thing that we're doing here. So yeah, be really careful about what you're doing. Make sure you have, if you're going to do a D&D product with the OGL, make sure some attorney looks at it to make sure that you're not violating any rights. And this is a big deal. Oh, God, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but at the end of the day, this is a global agreement. And this is requiring you to know the intellectual property laws of every country in the world to make sure that you're not going to violate them. That's kind of rough. 6D, no endorsement. We talked about that. 6E, no legal conduct. Again, this is almost a get out of jail free card for any company. I got to do 6E. Here's the problem. If you engage in any illegal conduct, I guess it means they can revoke the contract, right? So I'll go down. We'll see what they say about termination here in a minute. Yeah, and no hateful content or conduct. It will not include blah blah blah, harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engaging conduct that is harmful. So good luck trying to do that adult, what is it, Black Dog Game Studio that White Wolf did, or, other things that are adult oriented. Not going to happen under this license. I guarantee it. They're going to call that obscene. So it's not going to apply. Be really wary about that. Hold on, I want to make my notes here before I move on. So 6D. Section 6. Legal compliance worldwide. And the reason I'm doing all this, by the way, is I'll do a more formal thing later. But I figured I'd let you guys watch the process. All right. You will not violate the law in any way. Yada yada. No harmful or harmful. Section 6. No violation of any law. Nothing obscene. What is the definition of obscene or harmful? Because there are a lot of folks that have OnlyFans that do D&D content, and how are they gonna deal with this, right? Yeah, obscene is. Mind flayers are harmful. They are. I don't know. I would join a Mind Flayers OnlyFans page. All right. Modification or termination. We may only modify the prisoner's license, identifying the attribution required. Only flayers. Right. Under Section 5 and the Notice Provision 9, we may not modify any other provision. Okay, good. We may immediately terminate your license if you infringe any of our IP, bring an action challenging your IP. This, again, violate any law in relation to your activities under this license. 7B1. Like, this literally puts you in the position of having a corporate legal department that knows the law of every country in the world. It's almost a get out of jail free card. I see this all the time in contracts. So 7B1. 1. Terminate for any violation of law. And 6F, right? So if you violate Section 6F, they can terminate immediately too. So basically, anyone who's doing anything that is not on the up and up, they're going to they could either call hateful, obscene, or discriminatory. That's a huge get out of jail free card. And then, all right, so if you violate any other term of the agreement and they send you notice, I'm assuming notice will be a cease and desist letter, you got 30 days. Hey, Amazon 42. So that's the deal with termination. All right, let's talk about disclaimers. So you understand and agree that we are providing the license content is make no representation or warning of any kind concerning use of license content except as expressly stated in the license. We disclaim all warranties express, implied, such or otherwise. What this means is they do not guarantee that the IP that oh, hey, Carolyn and David. They do not guarantee that the IP that they are giving you under this license isn't infringing itself. Right? Oops. But then again, Microsoft does the same thing in Windows. If you actually look at your Windows or your whatever license, it says, yeah, we disclaim the warranty of non-infringement. So this is completely standard, but it's funny when you actually realize what it says. It actually says, we make no representation or warranty of any kind concerning your use of the license content except as expressly stated in this license. We disclaim all warranties, express, implied, statutory, or otherwise. I'm pretty sure they can't disclaim statutory warranties, but, you bear risk of using the license contents, only discretion risk. And we have no liability to you for any types of damages in connection with your use of licensed content, including without limitation, indirect, consequential, incidental, special, punitive, or exemplary, so long as our conduct at issue, as long as they are not grossly negligent or intentionally break the law, they're not liable for anything. So, again, use it at your own risk. And they don't stand behind it. They don't say, hey, it's not infringing and it's good to use. It's par for the course. It is standard in the industry, but know what you're getting your ass into. 8. There is no warranty whatsoever And they do not even certify, it's not how you spell it, even certify that they have good title to pass to you. It's a type of sexual position, Bash. It's an OGL. You know, when she gets in the O position. Yeah, anyway. Fucker. There's no warranty whatsoever, and they do not even certify that they have a good title to pass to you. All right. MISC. All right. We may notify you by any email or physical address we can locate for you. Oh, Jesus. Really? There really needs to be just some sort of registration page. Hey, Release. No, we're going to flip over to Magic in 15 minutes. So, I will start the Skype call up momentarily, but we're almost done here. There's only like a page left. If you want to watch the OGL for a while, feel free. Look, 9A, there really needs to be some sort of registration thing where they say, all right, I'm registering for this. Literally, if you have like an old Yahoo email and they send you an email there, then that counts as notice under this agreement. So you can actually just send this. That's a good thing. All right. So right there at the end of A, you just send them an email and you can notify them of your official email address to get notifications under the OGL. So 9B, this is the whole agreement. License consists only of the terms expressly and not matters included. Yeah. In accepting this license, you represent and warrant to us that you have relied on the terms of the license and the advice of your own counsel, if any. You have not relied on anything that is not expressly part of this license. What that means is talk to a lawyer before you start a $1 million Kickstarter using the OGL. Please, for all that's holy or unholy. No waiver of rights is usually a two-way street if either party fails to exercise a right. You know, it's not like you're giving them anything here, though, so it's okay for this to be a one-way street. If they fail to exercise any right, that means if you do something infringing that violates the OGL and they decide not to take legal action on it, that doesn't free you up to do it again later. That's what that clause says. Severability, if anything's unenforceable, invalid. Whoa! All right. If any part of this license is held to be unenforceable and invalid for any reason, Wizards may declare the entire license void, either as between it and the party that obtained the ruling or in its entirety. That's a big deal. 9D. So if a court ever comes back and says any of this is invalid, and that's any court anywhere in the world, 9D, that's a big fucking deal. Wizards can yank the whole thing. The whole thing. If any court anywhere in the world invalidates any portion of it. That is literally what that clause says. If any part of this license is held to be unenforceable or invalid for any reason, Wizards may declare the entire license void, either as between it and the party that obtained the ruling, or in its entirety. That's dirty pool. Unless Wizards elect to do so, the balance of this license will be enforced as if that part, which is unenforceable or invalid, did not exist. Well, it's not that we're giving you this and we can take it away whenever we want. It's that we're giving you this as a whole. If a court says this piece is invalid, then we're going back to the drawing board and rejiggering it. So it's not as shitty as it might sound, right? This license exists as a holistic thing. So if you start grabbing chunks of it and taking them out and throwing them away, it is kind of reasonable to say, all right, well, we're going to go back to the drawing board and redraft the whole thing so that this idea that we needed in here that the court said is invalid is somehow incorporated into the license, but not in a way that is invalid, right? Almost done, folks, and then we'll flip over to Magic because I know I got players sitting in the wings. All right, governing law jurisdiction, class action waiver. I do not like class action waivers. This license all matters. Yeah, government allows the state of Washington. Any disputes arising out will be resolved solely exclusively through individual litigation. So they're basically saying, if you agree to this license, you can't ever do a class action against us. This is, I think it's shitty and horrible from a personal perspective, but as a business, you know, and as a lawyer, class actions exist to make law firms money. The people who are part of the class very rarely make any money. And it is way easier for a company to do one-off litigations than deal with a massive class action lawsuit, which it also makes share prices tank. So this is par for the course for a corporate organization, but perhaps not as good as we would like for individual creators. It's kind of shitty. I'll probably put a bit about it in my write-up. So 15.9e. And I do not want the pound symbol. Matt, if you're watching, sorry. 9e. New class actions permitted. Not only that, but this license matters relating to it. Where was it? Entire agreement. They literally should have named the VTT and the other policy that are supposedly incorporated in it. So they should have done that too. All right. Headings and footnotes. Yeah, reference only. Waiver of jury trial. Oh God, yes. Trust me on this one. The last thing you want is a jury of people who don't understand role-playing games in any way. And trust me, believe it or not, most normies have no clue what a role-playing game is. I filed a trademark for a client, and I had to explain to the trademark office what a role-playing game was. So, review by counsel. Again, this is the second time they've talked about this in the document. You should seek the advice of counsel to make sure you understand this license. You agree that you have had the opportunity to do so. What I normally say is, you agree that you've had the opportunity to do so, and you have done so, or have declined to do so. All right, so that is the OGL 1.2. Here's the VTT. Does it say anything important? Ability to game remotely, yada, yada, yada. But as VTT's advanced functionality, tricky questions. What's the line between VTT and a video game? When has it become more than a replacement for traditional tabletop? Basically, this is the critical role document, right? Answering them will take time. We want this policy to reflect your input, so we'll be asking for your feedback. What is permitted? Using VTTs to replicate experience sitting around a table? Sure. So displaying static SRD content is fine. You can put the text of Magic Missile in your VTT. Yep. What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of the Magic Missile. So they're basically saying they're going to crack down on web streams and whatnot. This is literally the critical role document. May I make my VTT Albert token look like the one from Monster Manual? No, we've never licensed virtual depictions of our content under the OGL. Just for the text of the just the text. So that hasn't changed. You can create a creature called owlbear without the stack with the stat block, but you cannot copy the owlbear depictions. But if you've drawn your own unique owlbear or someone else did, you can use it. Fine. You can upload your already licensed content to a VTT. Yes. Okay. And I own and operate a VTT. I'm not even going to go into that one. So there we go, folks. Does anyone have questions in like 5 minutes while I start to get ready for the Magic stream? Let me flip back through and see if anybody actually asked them. Can't believe I revoked the whole thing. Bash, did you hear my conversation about the 1.0A and the deauth? Because really, anything previously published under 1.0A stays licensed. It will always be licensed. There's a question about whether derivative works of that will be licensed, but again, they're trying to prevent people getting around 1.2 by just doing more and more derivative works of their own 1.0A. There is no part about burning Hasbro to the ground, and you know, I think I should probably end this portion of the stream by saying, look, folks, Hasbro's a business. They make a game we like. They've done some shitty things. But at the end of the day, this document is not awful. I have seen way worse documents in my time, in my 25 years of doing this stupid shit. This is a great opportunity to make our voices heard, to make sure this document changes in ways that are reasonable. And again, it's not the end of the frickin' world. And 1.0A, anything licensed under it will live forever as a licensed product. So don't freak out about that. Anything else before I start the Skype call and start getting set up for Magic tonight? Yeah, Dragon Gem, I'm not. It's not real yet. This is a draft, right? This VTT thing. So, this is 1.0. I see their point, right? I see their point about not wanting another. They want a web series, right? They don't want something that's going to come out and step on the market for whatever they're making, because that there's movies coming. There's a TV show that just got authorized. There's going to be cartoons. There's going to be it's going to be a media conglomerate. Yeah, you can use animations around your home table, but when you start doing them publicly, that's a different thing. You're starting to compete in the same market. You're not competing against Hasbro when you use animations. You're not competing in the marketplace against Hasbro when you use them around your home table, right? Gwendolyn, the only thing you're not super excited about is the kill the entire dock if one court finds place of it invalid. Yeah, I get why they did it, because it's a holistic piece. It's one big thing, and if one part goes, it probably will have unintended consequences in other portions of the dock. So it makes sense. It might not be the best thing to do, but it does make sense. Gwendolyn, for Legends of Vox, so I guarantee you they are right now in negotiations. I don't know for certain, right? But I can almost guarantee that the big folks are already talking about how this is going to affect them and how they're going to get a bespoke deal with Wizards of the Coast, with Hasbro. Remember, just because this thing exists in the world doesn't mean that they can't do a different license for a one-off, for someone who comes to them with a great idea for something. They can do their own license. Yeah. So exactly, Gwendolyn. I will hold tight for another question or two while I bring up Skype and tell folks, uno momento, folks. Well, that's okay, Mandy. It will be on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Well, Twitch for a month, and then YouTube and Facebook forever. So. All right. You got 30 seconds to ask me a question before I launch the Skype call. It would never be black. Black would never be my favorite color, Mandy. Ever. Oh, thanks, Dragon Gem. I will try to remember that. All right. I'm going to wait. What is the wing velocity at Unladen Swallow? I had a pithy. I'm medicated, so there's no pithy answers when I'm medicated. It would have been like your cock if I were unmedicated. That is the answer. So, with all that said, I'm going to flip back for a 5-minute starting soon window to the Magic the Gathering stream. Yes, it is Tiefling Bard with the gay vibes. Absolutely.